Hello students of grade 7. Today's topic for science is taken from the unit 12, that is light. So let's start with what is light actually. Light is the external physical cause which produces the sensation of sight. It commonly refers to electromagnetic radiation that can be detected by the human eye. When it falls in the retina of our eyes, it produces the sensation of vision and we can see the object. Now let's discuss about the sources of light, or let's try to be a little bit brief on the sources of light. What actually is a source of light? A source of light is nothing but an object that emits its own light. For example, we have the sun, we have the torch, we have our own computer screen or mobile screen. Since they emit their own light, can be considered as a source of light. We should also remember that light travels in a straight line. Now moving on to the next, we have luminous and non-luminous object. Before we study luminous and non-luminous objects, let's learn what are visible and invisible objects and how we see objects first. Okay, what are visible and invisible objects? Objects which we can see are called visible objects, whereas objects which we cannot see or which we are not able to see are called invisible objects. Now, why are we able to see objects? Very simple. When light from an object enters our eye, we are able to see an object. This light may be emitted by object or may be reflected by it. In simple terms, the light or an object may have its own light or it may be reflected by other source of light. Now coming back to the point, what are luminous and non-luminous objects? Luminous object is an object that can shine by itself or emit light by itself. Examples, we have fire, sun, lamp, stars, torch, candle, fireflies, etc. Now, what are non-luminous object? Non-luminous object is an object that cannot emit light itself. Or in simple words, it doesn't have its own light, but it only reflects the light from a source. Example, moon, table, chair. As we know, moon does not have its own light, but it reflects the light from the sun. Now, in this slide, we shall discuss about transparent object, opaque object, and also how a shadow is formed. Firstly, transparent object. If an object allows light to pass through it, it is said to be transparent. For example, we can take the example of glass and water, as it allows light to travel or pass through it without any disturbance. Now moving on to the next, we have the opaque object. Opaque objects are objects that do not allow light to pass through it. Example, we have wood, stone, metal, etc. Now let's discuss about how shadow is formed in brief. Shadows are made by blocking light. Light rays travel from a source in straight lines, as we have discussed earlier. If an opaque object that is solid gets in the way, it stops light rays from traveling through it, as light travels in a straight line. This results in an area of darkness appearing behind the object. That is how actually a shadow is formed. Light rays. Light is an electromagnetic wave and a straight line paths followed by narrow beams of light, along which light energy travels, are called rays. When a ray of light passes from one medium to another, the light undergoes a change in direction. While there are numerous names for types of light rays, the most common ones are incident ray, reflected rays, and refracted rays. The next slide, we have laws of reflection of light. So, what are the laws of reflection of light? When a ray of light approaches a smooth, polished surface and the light ray bounces back, it is called the reflection of light. The process through which light rays fall on the surface and gets bounced back is known as reflection of light. Now, laws of reflection. The laws of reflection determine the reflection of incident light rays on reflecting surfaces like mirrors, smooth metal surfaces, and clear water. Now following are the given laws of reflection. The incident ray, the reflected ray, and the normal to the surface of the mirror all lie in the same plane. The angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. As you can see in the next slide, I have given a diagram for reflection of light, which you can also refer to the textbook. In this slide, we will discuss about the refraction of light. So, what is refraction of light? The change of direction of a light ray when it enters or leaves a transparent material is called refraction. Like the laws of reflection, we also do have the laws of refraction. So let's go through it once. Point number 1. The incident ray, reflected ray, and the normal to the interface of any two given mediums all lie in the same plane, as you can see in the diagram given below. The ratio of the sine of the angle of incidence and sine of the angle of refraction is constant, as you can see in the diagram, and you may follow it accordingly. Now in this slide, let's try to learn about the spectrum of white light. When the light enters the prism, it bends, it is refracted. You can follow the diagram that is given in the next slide. It also bends as it leaves the prism. The white light is split up into a spectrum of colors as in a rainbow. Now when we discuss about dispersion, the splitting of white light when it passes through a glass prism into constituent spectrum of colors is called dispersion. Example, that is violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. Dispersion happens because of refraction. When white light enters a block of glass, some colors bend more than others. Always remember, violet bends the most, whereas red bends the least. This means that different colors travel off in different directions, and so we can see them separately. The most familiar example of dispersion is probably a rainbow, in which dispersion causes the spatial separation of white light into components of different colors. Dispersion is or can also be defined as the breaking up or scattering of something. For example, an example of dispersion is throwing little pieces of paper all over a floor. An example of dispersion is the colored rays of light coming from a prism which has been hung in a sunny window. Now in this slide, there is a colored light. Let's first talk about filter. What is a filter? A filter is a piece of colored plastic or glass. It only lets through some of the colors which make up white light. It absorbs the other colors as well. Now, colored lights. As you all know, there are three primary colors in light, namely red, green, and blue. Light in these colors can be added together to make the secondary colors magenta, cyan, and yellow. All three primary colors add together and makes up a white light. The light that is reflected is the color of the object in that light. You can also get a detailed information as you go through the textbook. Dear boys and girls, remember the assignments that has been added in your PPT as well as in your PDF file. Please make sure that you complete your assignments and then kindly submit it on time. Thank you very much and have a good day.